Hello guys, what's up? Welcome to Hooption. My shoes cost more than your house is one of the most famous Ric Flair soundbites of all time. It's funny, preposterous, offensive, but the best thing about it is that it's not real. Buying shoes worth more than someone else's house would be a particularly dumb thing to do, considering how hard it is to make money in the world today. In today's video, we'll talk about 10 stupidly expensive things NBA players don't talk about. But before we jump in, please make sure you've pressed that red subscribe button along with the tiny bell icon to enter into our monthly shoutout giveaway. Just comment down below saying I subscribed, and we will enter you into the giveaway. These players happen to be rich enough to buy stuff that was more dumb and needless than anything we could ever dream of. Number 10. J.R. Smith, private jeweler. Even President Obama joked about J.R. Smith's shirtless celebration of his first NBA championship. He's a goofball, but one of those easy-to-love kinds. J.R. is also a respectful shooting guard, a streaky scorer who, when he's on, can lift his team with his three-point shooting. When he's not riding on his motorized scooter or inviting fans to take a bike ride with him, J.R. Smith also likes to splash cash. He was reported to own a jewelry company close to $50,000. It was only because the issue went public that the world learned about his ugly Black Jesus piece. Jesus' face was surprisingly similar to that of JR himself. It was also worth $25,000. Number 9. Jerome Williams and his personalized mascot. Jerome Williams was beloved by fans in Detroit, Toronto, Chicago, and New York for his hustle and hard play. While in Detroit, he had his own cheering section, website, and his own personalized mascot, which looked like a, you guessed it, junkyard dog. The great thing about it was that it made appearances in schools and hospitals to reach out to young children and teens. Number 8. Danny Granger and his Batcave. Who doesn't love Batman? Danny Granger decided to show his devotion to the Dark Knight in a very peculiar way by building his own Batcave. He made his intentions known as early as 2008, stating that if he ever bought his own house, he would build a Batcave in it. Now, we can't say anything about his crazy plan as the updates regarding his special room stopped around 2012. Back then, he was talking to reporters about meeting with contractors and designers. Its completion is a secret that will never be known, but just the fact that he consulted on going through with it is ridiculous. Number 7. Robert Swift and his illegal things. Robert Swift played in 97 games during his 5 seasons on the Sonics/Thunder. There was more to his on-court issues than his injuries. He had mental health issues, which played into his substance abuse. He wasn't the highest paid guy on the team, but he could afford supporting a group of people that can be described lightly as the wrong crowd. In 2013, Swift went bankrupt, and the foreclosed house he left behind was filled with beer bottles, firearms, and ammunition. He was arrested for unlawful possession of a firearm in 2014. He was arrested for an attempted home invasion of 2015. He was under the influence during the incident. This one's more tragic than it is ridiculous. Number 6. Scottie Pippen and his private jet. Scottie Pippen is one of the stingiest athletes ever. Pippen signed a long-term contract with the Bulls because of his fear of financial insecurity, and for a long time, he was one of the most underpaid players in the league. Once he got the chance, Pippen decided to earn as much as possible on the Rockets and, later on, the Blazers. When Pippen got his money, he decided to spend some of it in the most ridiculous ways. The most significant was splurging on a $3.4 million private jet. He didn't take into account the cost of running the aircraft, let alone maintaining it and storing it. In consequence, his very own aircraft never left the ground. Number 5. Jarrett Jack and his $375,000 sneaker collection. NBA players are notorious sneakerheads, some more than others, but it goes without saying that if you spend the majority of your life running around on a basketball court, you're going to have some sort of affinity for shoes. Jarrett Jack seems to share that affinity. At his permanent off-season home in Atlanta, where he played collegiately at Georgia Tech, Jack had a room in his house designed just to hold all of his shoes. He has shelves from floor to ceiling on every wall. He only had a fraction of his collection in Oakland, but he still had more than enough to keep him in fresh footwear every day. He could probably outfit the whole team if necessary. Number 4. Deshaun Stevenson and his personal ATM. Stevenson is most known for his beef with LeBron James. LeBron James totally owned Stevenson's Wizards during the Eastern Conference playoffs, but his Mavericks managed to steal the win from the Heat in the 2011 finals. Stevenson played a minor role in stopping James, yet he celebrated as if he single-handedly contained one of the best players in league history. The funniest thing about his success was that Stevenson wasn't even on the Mavericks a year later. Instead, he was signed by the Nets. As a member of that team, Stevenson proudly posed in his home with an actual ATM in his kitchen. He paid $3,500 for installing it. It charged a $4.50 transaction fee and was refilled with $20,000 a few times a year. Number 3. Latrell Sprewell, a yacht he couldn't pay for. Latrell Sprewell made over $100 million during his playing career, but could have made over $120 if he didn't turn down his final contract with the Timberwolves. They offered him $21 million for 3 years, but it was turned down by Sprewell, and he explained that he had a family to feed. Apparently, feeding the family meant splurging on a $1.5 million yacht. Clearly, Spree was a nickname well earned. The yacht was seized by U.S. Marshals as the player eventually went bankrupt. Number 2. Dennis Rodman and his enormous record collection. Dennis Rodman was a very controversial athlete, and he remains a polarizing person to this day. He was as much capable of kicking a cameraman during a game as he was of being nice and generous to random fans. The fact that he considers Kim Jong-un to be a regular person paints him as either extremely emphatic or extremely stupid. The fact that he's gone bankrupt despite earning $50 million on team contracts alone makes him definitely the latter when it comes to handling money. Part of it was lost on the purchase of his $8 million mansion. Apparently, 2/3 of the mansion was filled with Rodman's enormous record collection. He said that he would rather lose his kidneys than his albums, which shows he really loves his music. This was before MP3 files and streaming, so we can understand his large collection. Number 1. Eddie Curry, the most expensivest cable. Eddie Curry wasn't very good with money, as he once took out a 5-month, $570,000 loan at 85% interest. Curry also overpaid for his New York apartment, which he was just renting. The one expense that stands out the most is his $1,075 monthly cable bill. Nowadays, his 6 years, $60 million deal doesn't stand out as much, but then, in 2005 to 2011, Curry was one of the highest paid players in the league. Well guys, did you like the video? Let us know in the comments. And what do you think about the mistakes these players made? Did they spend their money on things that they actually needed or no? Well, anyway, we don't want to be like them. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so. With that being said, we'll see you in the next one.